Hey guys, it's Masscre today I'm going to tonight I'm here to do a movie review on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is a Toby Hooper movie. Um, Came out. I'm not copying Ron Baroff for life by saying that, by the way, just because he said it in his review. But, basically, what this movie is about, basically it came out in 1974. This is not, just to get this out, this is not based on true events. It's it's okay. It's not based on a true story. It's just based on the crimes of Ed Gein, and all that stuff. And there's a 72-minute documentary of shock and true and sequel trailers. So yeah. Anyway, guys. Okay, so by the way, guys, this is one of the creepiest and scariest movies of all time. Like, probably the scariest movie that I own. Like, I like the second one a bit more because like the second one's more lighthearted and all. And I'm sorry guys, and I know the second one's also very underrated. But anyway guys, the movie starts off where we hear all this just news reports like and all that stuff, and we see this skeleton which is all fucked up and just like disgusting looking. And basically what happens is we see the skeleton, and it's a scarecrow basically. And we see all these guys, all these not travelers, but they're going out to their grandfather's place to fix it up or something. And basically while they're out there is to they this guy by the name of Franklin needs to go for a piss, and he ends up falling off his wheelchair, and they bring him back up and all that stuff. Um, they bring him back and all that, and they go in the van, and basically they're talking about random crap. They're just talking until um they pick up a hitchhiker. And basically what the hitchhiker does is he's talking, my brother works at the slaughterhouse, because I think they're off to the slaughterhouse. And anyway, while he's there talking about how his brother works at the slaughterhouse, um basically what he does is that like how his brother works at the slaughterhouse and all that stuff. And eventually what he starts doing is he starts to cut himself, but then he starts with a knife, but then he starts kind of jam at other people, and then they kick him out and they drive off. Franklin kind of can't get over it, like he's obsessing over it. And all that stuff. And basically what's happening is they stop off for gas, and they see this other guy who's like, oh, you don't want to go up there and all that stuff. He's like a gas guy, and he happens to be the cook. Spoiler alert. Anyway, um, but basically what ends up happening is they end up going up to the slaughterhouse and going down and see all this stuff. And Franklin, you feel sorry for Franklin. Why did they make fun of him? Like, literally, I feel sorry for Franklin. And eventually they're looking around the house, and they see all these like spiders and maggots and all that stuff, and a real disgusting place. And I love the real documentary feel to it. Like, it is, the cameras even make it look scary. Like, the documentary feel is brilliant, and I love, like, the documentary feel is just brilliant, and that's a great part of the movie. Also, they're looking around the house, and they do random stuff, you know, while they're down there. Like, the two boyfriend and girlfriend go out and they find like a generator. The Franklin just hangs around the van and all that. And while they go in, this guy goes in to see and goes, hello, hello, and we hear these pig noises like which are very disturbing. And he goes into this house. While he goes up, we get a horror icon just like Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and Chucky and Leprechaun and all that, and Jigsaw. Leatherface comes out with the hammer and smacks the guy across the face and beats him to death, and you hear the pig noises and all that. Very disturbing. Then the girl goes in to look for him, and then the girl ends up falling over, finds all this chicken for, she ends up falling over, Leatherface comes after her, picks her up, Leatherface comes out, picks her up, brings her in, she ends up running away from Leatherface and all that, and she has a fall, and you have all these chicken skin and all that stuff, and you have all this chicken skin and all that stuff, and basically, yeah, you have all this chicken skin, as I said before, and she's running, and then Leatherface picks her up and then hangs her right on the thing, and like you see blood behind her, and she's like, oh, and she's dying, and it's very disturbing, and that's that scene there where she's hung. And says on the back, if ever should be a film that should be banned, this is it. And like Daily Mail. Anyway, like it should, well, it won't be surprised if it wasn't banned. This guy ends up going to look for her with, I think, Sally's boyfriend. And the guy ends up going, and Leatherface jumps out with the hammer and smacks him on the head, and then Leatherface is just getting angry and finding out why are these kids coming, and then he just looks and he goes, and we get a really disturbing scene when he's like, and all, it's really disturbing. And the girl ends up jumping out, her body ends up coming out of the freezer, which is also creepy. So then Franklin and her start arguing over the flashlight and all that, and they're in the woods looking at the flashlight and all that, and they're just searching the woods, and he's like, Sally, I hear something. Then Leatherface just jumps out with the chainsaw and goes, "Mom!" And then they scream, "Ah!" And then Sally is just screaming her head off, and then Leatherface jams the chainsaw right into Franklin and kills her. And then she runs, and Leatherface is running after her, and it runs on for ages and ages and ages. She's running after him, and I mean, it's just so disturbing because like Leatherface is constantly running after her. She's jumping out the window, finds a dead granny, and then he's there, and you find a grandpa there who's turns out to be a character in these movies, and the first three anyway, and all that's, I think he was in the fourth one. Yeah, he was in the fourth one. I think he was. Anyway, guys, and like he's running after him, running after her. She is screaming her head off. She's literally more than terrified. That is just brilliant acting right here. She ends up going into this guy's house, and the guy happens to be the gas station. So like, just calm down, he's fine, you'll be fine. And then he's like, she just put this bag on your head. What? Just cooperate, old lady. He's like, get away from me. And he turns out to be part of the Leatherface family, which gets introduced. And like, she ends up getting a bag on her head and puts him in the car, and is like, shut your whining and all that. And ends up picking up the hitchhiker, who's also part of the family, and his brother happened to be Leatherface. So they're driving up there, and then we get one of the most disturbing scenes in the movie. They tie the woman up to a chair, and literally in every Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, except for I think Texas Chainsaw 3D, I don't think did this, but all the other movies did it, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 3, 4, the remake. Obviously the remake had to do it because it's a remake. In the beginning, all did it except for I think Texas Chainsaw 3D. They all did it. Is the dinner table scene. Like it just in all the movies, it just gets less effective and less scary. But in this movie, it is effective, scary, and disturbing, and it works in this movie. She's tied up. They're eating flesh, and it's like, just take no pleasure in killing. Just some things you gotta do. Don't mean you have to like it. She is screaming her ass off, going really close with her eyes and flesh, and it's just disturbing, and it's scary. Okay, and all the things they're eating is scary. Leatherface ends up getting into a tuxedo, and all that stuff for the dinner, and Leatherface and all freak out, and they end up putting her fingers in the grandfather's mouth, and he's meant to like suck the blood out of it, and they end up trying to hit her on the hammer, and she's just tied up for ages until she eventually escapes and smashes, and Leatherface and the hitchhiker are running after her, and she's just blood all over her face until The hitchhiker ends up getting hit, and blood is all over her face, and she's screaming. Then you got the black guy, who should be credited a lot more. I agree with Rambo for life on that. Leatherface is like literally at his car, jamming the chainsaw, and he's running. Leatherface is jamming the chainsaw into the door and running after him, and then Leatherface throws a hammer at him and ends up. No, he throws a hammer at Leatherface. Leatherface falls. The chainsaw cuts out his leg, and then he's running away. He gets away, and then Leatherface chases after Sally. Sally, and then just he gets a ride, and she's just screaming, and she's gone completely crazy. And Leatherface does that chainsaw dance at the end, and it's not cheesy. It's basically, I think it's to get his anger out. That was a mouthful. This is fantastic. This movie is fan freaking tastic. I prefer Halloween, but like I'll say there are some boring bits in it, like the talking scenes, but that does not make it a bad movie. This is a great movie. I mean, it is very disturbing, and this was meant to be PG. How in the hell would this movie? That's probably why it's not gory. People say it's gory. It's not. Like, I know there's blood on the chainsaw, but like, how does a movie like this was meant to be PG? Like, why would it be PG? Like, if there's anyone one that should have been PG, it should have been number 4. Actually, no, number 4 still has some bad stuff in it, but yeah, this is a great movie. Spine, back, and front. I want to show the disc really as well. So yeah, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just scary ass movie. I do believe that's Leatherface with the chainsaw over his head. Um, correct me if I'm wrong. Toby Hooper, pretty much. I think Poltergeist. This is probably this and Poltergeist is probably the last good thing he's done. But yeah. So I'm gonna read some of the special features. Full length commentary with featuring director Toby Hooper, director of photography, Danielle Perot, and star Gunnar Hansen, who plays Leatherface, did a great job of playing Leatherface. Deleted scenes and alternate footage, director and cast interviews, outtakes, original theatrical trailers, original TV ads, sequel trailers, stills, posters, and lobby cards, and the first feature at the very top, 72-minute documentary, The Shocking Truth. I don't think I'd watch that documentary, just I really don't like. I love watching horror movies and people getting killed, but I don't like real life crimes. They just disturb the crap out of me. And I've heard some real life crimes, and today actually, I just don't want to talk about them. So yeah. So this is a great movie, and I'll see you guys later.